Good afternoon and welcome to the Executive Mansion live. We are here again as routine with the Presidential Press Secretary who...
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of our weekly press briefing here in the foyer of the Executive Mansion. We're happy to be back after a brief time away. Today is Friday, November 28, 2025. However you're viewing this, however you're following, those in the diaspora, those in the counties, those watching on different platforms online and on radio, we'd like to welcome you to another edition. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to keeping you posted, keeping you updated as to the activities of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr. As always, the President has had a very busy week. As you know, the President continued to work for the Liberian people and has had very busy time, as I've mentioned. You may be aware His Excellency President Boakai returned to the country this morning, very early this morning, following his participation in the 17th edition of the May Days Forum that was held, or that's currently ongoing, in Tangier, Morocco, because the forum ends on the 29th. However, our President's participation he participated and concluded, and today he's back to the country. He was also awarded the prestigious Grand Prix Award for his continuous contributions to upholding and championing the tenets of democracy and ensuring political stability and regional collaboration, as well as sustainable development and cooperation within the Global South. The President also had key meetings with his Gambian counterpart, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, and they talked a lot about community development, but also regional peace and security and issues of mutual interest. The Liberian leader also met with and had engagement with the management team, the head and management team of the Tangier port in Morocco, Morocco's largest ports, and some of the conversations that were had include expansion and collaboration between Liberia's National Port Authority and the Tangier port. The Tangier port is playing a key role in maritime transportation within the African region as well as the European region, contributing massively to the Morocco's economy. One way the President thought was to engage them and to see what will be happening and what form of collaboration and support can be gathered and for Liberia. Interestingly, very soon there will be an agreement signed between the NPA, that is the Liberia's National Port Authority, and the Tangier Med Port for expansion, management of port, and other areas of mutual interest. And the President was excited and took a tour of the facility, as well as other engagement, and spoke to the leadership there, spoke to the team there, and there's a need to do more. And the team in Morocco will be coming to Liberia very soon to even see what level of collaboration, what level of support can be gathered more, besides just the National Port Authority, but other ports within Liberia. The President also, as part of his engagement in Morocco, and this is something that His Excellency has continuously done, by engaging the communities, the Liberian communities, when he visited different countries. Every time he visited, he tried to engage the Liberian community to understand the challenges, but more to encourage Liberians in the diaspora to continue working and supporting their country and always see Liberia as home, and that he's really very happy to connect with Liberians. One of such engagement was also during this visit, where he met with Liberian students. Morocco and Liberia has some educational program ongoing where Liberian students travel to Morocco on scholarships. Some are there, some are medical students, some are in different fields, and some are TVET, that's the technical vocational education training program there. And he had an engagement with them, very fruitful engagement, as well as other members of the Liberian community. Some Liberians are residing in Morocco with different challenges, but also different contributions they were able to make. And the president was happy to engage them, encourage them to, pay attention to their education, to contribute again to Liberia's development by what they would do in Morocco, and following the conclusion of their education to be able to come back home and contribute. Yes, they expressed some challenges as to allowances and issues that they faced. The president is committed to solving where necessary some of those problems, and encourage the students there as well as the community to remain active with their mission, with the embassy and with the ambassador, so that he's able to furnish Liberia, furnish home as to the challenges and finding solutions to them. Also, during the course of the week, the president did accept the resignation of the former head of NAFA, the National Fishery and Aquaculture Authority, as well as the deputy for LIPA. And the president thanked both women for their services to the country and wished them well in future endeavors. However, there are still other issues that have been ongoing, especially in relation to institutions and individuals who were suspended for different reasons, were forwarded to LSCC. Those investigations are continuing, and they will continue until they come to the final conclusions. On Tuesday of this coming week, His Excellency will hold his cabinet meeting with members of the cabinet. That meeting will be held in Tottenburg, Bomi County. The First Lady is currently in Accra, Ghana, representing the President, Josephine Boakai, and the people of Liberia at the funeral services of the former First Lady of Ghana, Madam Nana, and he's expressed his deepest sympathy to the people of Ghana on the passing of their former First Lady, Madam Nana Achimoti Rollins, and expressed his deepest sympathy. And as I've said, the First Lady, Mrs. Bokai, is currently in Ghana representing the Liberian government and the President. The President also expressed his deepest sympathy on behalf of the people of Liberia. Also, we like to in this manner extend our congratulations to His Excellency the President. On November 30th, our President will turn 81. On behalf of myself and the team here at the Office of the Press Secretary, as well as the Department of Public Affairs, would like to wish our President, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, happy 81st birthday. And we pray God's blessing, God's guidance, and all of your heart's desires. I know the major one will be to ensure that Liberia becomes a better place and better than what you made it. So happy pre-birthday, and then happy birthday, because we won't come, the next time you will see us during this broadcast will also be after the birthday. So we want to, in this manner, wish you a happy birthday. Also, talking of birthdays, we in this office have one of our colleagues who is a member of this team. He also celebrates his birthday today, Mr. Jonathan San. We call him Powerful. we'd like to say happy birthday. You want to come? You have a moment today to come and be, and be here.
Powerful.
This is powerful. We call him powerful. So as part of this, we want to say happy birthday. He's been one of the long-serving people here in this office. He's served several administrations, beginning with President Doe, former President Doe. Master Sergeant Doe and Charles Taylor, Madam Sirleaf, even during the transitional period, Judy Bryant, Madam Sirleaf, former President George Weah, and now Moses Blah, and now President Bokai. So he is one of the long-serving staff members here, and we'd like to, in this public manner, tell you happy birthday, and we're happy to have you, have your wisdom, have your experience, and all administrations you've served. You come with that depth of knowledge of the office of the Press Secretary, and we're honored to have you, and thank you for the services you provide to the Liberian people. There are several team members here. There are several people behind the scene. Some of the things that you may not see in the public, but Jonathan is one of the staff members who behind the scene doing a lot of different things, inclusive of cameraman. Sometimes he records videos and photographs and a lot of other things. Our team is a combination of multitasker. So again, I want to thank you for your services. Congratulations and happy birthday.
Thank you.
And hope you're taking us somewhere today. All right. With that light moment, we'd like to thank you all for coming, and good afternoon. As we always do, if you have questions, please ask your question, state your institution you represent in your name. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Madam Presidential Press Secretary. My name is Anthony Williams. Just this morning, we were at the RIA receiving His Excellency upon his arrival from attending the Media's Forum. And I would love for you to expound more on this particular question. I did ask Mr. President this morning, but we didn't go in detail with the response. Of course, I kind of got what I wanted to hear from him, but I would appreciate for you to expand on this. In his message he delivered, he did encourage African countries to domesticate the production and processing of Africa's own resources and raw materials. Now, Liberia as a country that has exported lots of its resources over the years, what does Mr. President's government intend to do, or what policies does he intend to institute? Is his government intending to look back at some of the mineral development agreements that have been signed to ensure that his dream of Africa domesticating or processing its resources domestically can come to fruition, bringing that back to Liberia? That's question number one. And I don't know if you've heard from Mr. President regarding his birthday, but I would really know how he embraces 81 year as Liberia's president. That's something I would really want you to also talk about. And basically, we can start from there. I might join you on the other question.
Okay. Thank you very much. And you're correct, Anthony, about the president's plan. Our president is one of those African leaders who, besides just seeing what the challenges are, he proffers solutions. And yes, you're right about how he intends to domesticate back home, not just the broader idea of the need for African countries. And one of such is the reactivation of the economic free zone. I'm sure you've heard Liberia reactivated the economic free zone, and there conversation happening as to how those processes will, be leveraged. And going forward, one of the other things that the president has been clear on is concession agreements. Every new concession agreement should be able to have that component that has to do with producing raw materials here, processing them here, even if it's not the total. In fact, part of the new review of these different concessionaires that have been signed is to be able to do just that. So there are discussions happening as to the percentages of what needs to happen. So what level of raw materials will be taken and what will be domesticated is an active conversation happening, and the president is keen on that. And you're 100% right. And he believes that once as a government you're able to plan, you're able to execute and start to domesticate these things, instituting measures to have your raw material being processed back home, there's a huge opportunity for job creation, for value addition throughout the value chain, from the production to the processing. There are means in which you are able to employ your people. And this is exactly what he intends to do. As to the birthday, this year he's as usual, he's thankful for God giving him another year, adding to his life. And he's thankful for families, he's thankful for friends, he's thankful for his contribution, but more importantly, thankful that Liberians were able to give him the opportunity to serve as the president. As to how he's going to spend the birthday, he wanted to be a low-key, you know, if it's left to...
Not necessarily spend, but how does he embrace 81 year?
I mean, he embraces it as thankful, in a thankful mood. I mean, a birthday is, for him, is not a big on birthday. If it left to him, he'll wake up in the morning, eat his breakfasts, and I mean, normally, in fact, I'll just give you a gist of what his normal routines are. Wakes up very early, does his prayers, does his exercise, you know, move around, and then, you know, next thing is if he has breakfast, if he wants to eat breakfast, he eats breakfast, and then goes by his regular different work meetings, his security team, meeting these different team members, you know. So for him, he doesn't really, if it's left up to him, he wouldn't want to do anything more than just being able to celebrate. But this year, he actually wants to do it naturally, like be on farm in Bonah, engage with children, you know, to really, you know, be there. He's thankful for the 81 years, obviously. He's looking forward to God giving him more years ahead. And his birthdays are not something that he takes too much, you know, but being president also is a different aspect. So it is a president Walker, and this is a Joseph Walker as you know, natural person. Yes, you've been in.
Yeah, my name is Yubini Masale, and I work for Sky Communications, Sky FM and Sky Television. I listened to your expose talking about, you talk about the president meeting the management of the port in Morocco. And also, before the president's speech, you know, monitor your live stream where you talk to our port manager here, Honorable Sekou Dugle, and you talk about how they are going to have memorandum of understanding between the ports, you know, of Morocco and that of Liberia. You know, in time past, we have been talking about this dredging of the port. There are a lot of vessels, bigger vessels or ships that can now dock to our port. So I would like to know as to whether they have anything in the memorandum of understanding where bigger vessels will be able to dock at the port of Monrovia, the free port of Monrovia.
Thank you. I did explain, and I did tell you earlier about the part of expansion, because of course NPA, as in its current state, needs expansion. And part of the conversation that's happening with the Tangier Med port is also just that, to be able to, you know, have bigger vessels come to Liberia, be able to get, you know, to dock at our port, and to also provide opportunities for employment, because the more you have expansion, you need workers at different layers of the investment, whether it's the construction process, whether it's the elevation, just the whole 9 yards will need, you know, people to be there. So yes, part of the conversation is just that, the expansion of the port, and to also look at the port management, because port management is a whole larger aspect of beyond just the expansion conversation. So all of that is inclusive. As to the direct or specific details of what's in the contract, I mean, we've not gotten to that point, but before the signing is done, we'll definitely be able to update you further as to what are those specifics within the signing or the contract. Yes.
Anthony Williams here again. So, away from the Morocco trip a little bit before President Bonah departed, he met with the elders of Liberia at the assembly there in Bangapon County. Several recommendations were placed before the president, some of which include holding a national elder assembly like that at least twice a year. That was amongst one of the recommendations that were made by the elders. They also did speak strongly on profanity being used on national leaders on the media, among some of the recommendations that were made to Mr. President. I just want to know if His Excellency started ensuring that some of these requests can be looked into. That's one. And then finally, for my end, speaking of infrastructural development as one key component of President Bonah's government, it's something that he also stressed while he was in Morocco there. The post-war infrastructure conference has been underway. I've heard from you a few times, you've mentioned it. Are there any new development as to when this conference starts and how early?
Thank you very much. There's a hand here I want to ask. So on voting or the outcome of the conference, because there are a number of recommendations, as you've alluded to, and you're right, for the president, he really looking forward to seeing what's doable, the possibilities, and he agrees with the elders of the need for consistently meeting and engaging. As to the frequency, whether twice a year or once a year, those details will be worked out, because bringing elders or bringing any group of people together, it requires resources. It requires proper planning. It requires, working together as a team. So the Ministry of Internal Affairs will consistently engage, with the community, specifically the elders and chiefs. But one of the other things that the president highly believes is the role of the chiefs and elders, the role they play in our community and country. And he appreciates everything that they do. And in terms of the regular meetings, they will discuss with the Internal Affairs and see the feasibility and see what's possible. And other recommendations, of course, all the recommendations will be reviewed, and the ones that are doable will be done. As to the use of profanity on radio and the way others respond to political leaders or leaders of our country, is something that's concerning, and it's reached the presidency, it's reached the president's desk, and he has some ideas, and he's working to, sometimes, especially one of the specific conversations that have been had is to really work with people who occupy public offices to be able to have proper onboarding as to what you can do and what you can't do. And one of those that the president has done is, as you know, the performance contract that was signed, but this was with the ministers and heads of agencies. As to the lower level officials of government, that has not been done, but there's a conversation ongoing, even here at the presidency, to really work with the cabinet secretariat, the CSA and others, to have a clear mandate. Of course, there's a code of conduct for public officials, but to be specific as to the parameters of which public officials can work in. So yes, this is something that's actively been looked at, it's been discussed. So the president is also concerned about it, and there will be actions taken, especially for public officials. And again, he wants us to reemphasize the role of the elders and chiefs, because back then, when we were growing up, there are certain things as young people, even regardless of public offices, there are certain things you can say, there are certain languages you can and cannot use, whether you're politically active or politically exposed people. And there are certain things you can't just do by tradition. and is encouraging our elders to re-emphasize that energy, to be able to advise the communities, work with the communities, work with schools, work with people, so that they understand our tradition. The African and Liberian tradition is respect. Respect for elders, respect for people, respect for community, and we want the elders to, play their roles in that. As to the post-war infrastructure plan, yes, it's active. And I will just inform you, it's tentative though, but the national conference is planned for January 19 specifically. So the modalities have been worked on. There may be some adjustments, or if there are, you will be informed. But tentatively, or as of now, the schedule is on the 19th of January 2026, and this will be happening in Nimba County. To bring together individuals and sector members of infrastructure development and bringing international partners to support this initiative. This is something that's planned. Yes, Regan.
Okay, Madam PBS, thank you so much. My name is Regan Levy, in the report for the Liberia News Agency. So my concern stay on the Bonah County or Banga conference. We all know that the others of our country are doing extremely well, most especially in the rural areas. My concern has been drawn to their welfare. PBS, is the president taking into consideration the welfare of those traditional leaders? Because as part of their recommendation to the president, it has to do with the increment of salary. Is the president bothered with this? Two, the budget has been submitted to the legislature, $1.2 billion budget. All of us know that this country, Liberians in general, overwhelmingly voted President Bonah for change. Most of whom have voted for the president are the civil servants. Is the president taking into consideration, because in the budget we did not see increment for civil servants and stuff like that? Is the president bothered? Because a lot of people complaining, isn't listening to the Liberian people, most especially the civil servants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Regan. I'll begin with your first part as to the elders and their concerns. Absolutely, this is something that this conversation about elders or chiefs' welfare been a long one, even before this administration. And as you alluded, there have been, in fact, back then there wasn't salary for elders. And now you talk of increment. So it tells us that they've been salaried now for elders and those who are on there. I do know that there are instances where chiefs have also been asking, town chiefs have also been asking for to be on payroll. And in terms of the increment, of course, everywhere right now with the challenge of our country, all sectors need increment because, of course, the living standards globally is increasing. So people's salary needs to commensurate with the current living conditions so they can afford what they need, whether it's food, shelter, education for their families, absolutely. So yes, that's been looked into as to what needs to happen with those who are not on salary, those who need to get on salary, those who are on salary, who are having issues with the increment. And that's a conversation that's been happening. As to civil servants and salary again, absolutely. Since the inception of this government took over with a challenge of harmonization, where there are people's salaries were cut, but they've been, the Ministry of Finance and the Economic Management team have continuously worked to get towards increasing salaries of civil servants, putting more career people in the civil service, like the nurses and doctors. And so absolutely, as to the process, definitely is happening and it's going to be incremental, it's going to take time, it's going to be, as time goes by based on the resources that the country has. But this is something that the Ministry of Finance and Government Planning team and the Economic Management team consistently looking into. Because for His Excellency, in fact, a few days ago, we were just having a conversation, and he consistently says, if you pretend to pay people, they will pretend to work. So that means if you're not paying people right, they will not do the job as you want it to be done. So he really hopes that all of his team members can work really hard so that civil servant salary can be increased. And those who are doing the hard work, the nurses, the doctors, the police officers, those who are doing the everyday work, coming to work, turning on the generators and making the things move, making the economy engine runs, we want them to be able to take a salary that will be beneficial to them and their families. So again, thank you all for coming. Look forward to connecting with you. But before we go, we know tomorrow is the 29th of November, and the 29th is always our
Maybe I got a question.
Oh, you do? Oh, I didn't see you. You should have. Now I'm tuning out on you. Go ahead, dear.
So the president was in Banga for a national program. Upon his return around Kakata, there was a tragic accident. And on social media news outlets, the headline was the president's vehicle was involved in an accident. And that led to, I think, one person dead. So is it like a clarification? Was the president's vehicle involved in a tragic accident upon his return from Banga?
Thank you. From information that I gathered and from information available, the president's vehicle was not the vehicle that had the accident. It was not the vehicle, it was not even any of the key vehicles that are in the motorcade, according to information. However, it's a life of a citizen, regardless of which vehicle, the fact remains a life was taken away. And the president expressed his sympathy to the families of the victim. And as the investigation continues, the president and the Ministry of Justice and the team working behind the scene to see what needs to happen and what needs to be done. But regardless of what vehicle it was, but just to clarify, as you've asked, it was not the president's vehicle.
Was the vehicle part of the convoy?
So according to information that we gathered, it was, when the convoy is coming, there are the police, so the president's security is divided into different sections. You have the police escort, what they call the sweeping vehicle, what they come, the first vehicle that will clear the way or make the announcement for the people. And then there's the actual convoy, where the president's first motorcade, the next one, and the security dispatch, and everybody else. I think from my information that I got, it was one of those police vehicles that were in the very earlier stages. But regardless, it was during the movement of the president that the situation happened. And it's the life of a citizen, and the president and the government regrets the incident. And again, the Executive Protection Service has consistently made this announcement. I'm sure if you listen to the Liberia Broadcasting System, regularly it's announced about people intruding in the motorcade. When you hear a siren, whether you're on the motorbike or on a taxi, on a keke, you should please get off the way, because those vehicles come. Motorcade, there's a certain limit of speed that they move on. It's also not right for you to come and intrude or for any reason even cross the road. Once you hear the sound of a siren, even if it's not the presidential convoy, it could even be an ambulance taking someone who's on a critical list to a medical facility. But sometimes our people, our brothers and sisters, our drivers, the motorcycles, it can be challenging at times. So this awareness, this is not the first one. This is the second one, unfortunately, and this announcement has been played on multiple platforms. The EPS have done extremely well to raise the awareness, but we all, as a citizen, we also have to, continue the awareness and inform the people of this kind of situation. And it's really regrettable. But again, as you requested or asked about clarification, because again, sometimes Liberia, we try to give out misinformation and so, but regardless of whatever the situation is, life is taken. That's the most important part. It's regrettable. No life is worth to be lost in that kind of situation. Everyone has the plan to wake up in the morning and want to go by the day, and they meet up with an unfortunate situation. So it's a regrettable situation.
So we can close the press conference with this. Political pundits are saying the request from the former First Lady about the Kula Foundation documents is a political wish hunt. As a press secretary, what can you say about this?
You said the request from the First Lady?
The former First Lady.
Okay.
About the Kula Foundation documentation.
Institutions that are working based on the mandate that they have. The Access, Recovery, and Property Retrieval Task Force was constituted more than a year ago. And they've been investigating when they hear or when they see on the, or if they're alerted of the situation or feel that they are ill-treated or they were not treated right or their due process was not given or they've been witch-hunted. We have court system, we have the law. We are a country of law, a country of constitutional government. So should anyone, in any action on their duties, it's important that they use the law to the right, for the right reason. So again, I wouldn't want to be able to say, oh, it's witch hunted. Of course, there will always be political conduct, as I said. And it's good, I believe personally, that it's a good thing that we have a country where there are people who disagree with some of the way people do things. It's good that these conversations have been had. People are asking these critical questions, and they should be welcome. But the fact remains, people should use the law in their interest, in the institutions that have been built in their interest. Again, just finally, the president was also a part of the ECOWAS Heads of Authority meeting with this current situation that's happening in the Guinea-Bissau. And the president joined his colleagues to talk about the actions. And of course, they re-energized or recommitted themselves to one ECOWAS and denounced any form of violence, any form of coup, any form of not going through constitutional processes. And they're working to come up with their communique that will communicate to everyone. So thank you, and have a wonderful time. Happy holidays to those who will be celebrating. If you go on the beach tomorrow, please be safe out there. Take your time and watch out. And to our brother, it's unfortunate that the student community is bereaved. The student community lost Mr. Bonah Jersey a few weeks ago. And his remains should be in the country tomorrow. The government of Liberia, the president, did contribute a lot to the initiative of his health when he got ill, and unfortunately his death. And also our deepest sympathy to all the students who will be mourning, or who are mourning currently, all of us. And we look forward to engaging and connecting. Thank you, good afternoon, and all the best.
So this was one of the regular press briefings here at the Executive Mansion. The press secretary brings us up to speed with happenings of this week, or things that His Excellency the President did. So folks, this is how we'd like to say goodbye and happy weekend.